Matthew 5th chapter, verse 41. And it was making me think about, I was just saying ultra too, and I've talked about the ultra mindset, which is to do the extra step. And in, of course, Matthew 5:41, and whoever compels you to go 1 mile, go with him 2. And this is the ultra mindset. This is the psychology we want to have. And what if I told you in just 5 steps, you could completely change your trajectory of your life? And really, it takes one action step to change your life. I want to talk about also with this psychology mastery. In step 4, align with service is the title. Step 4, align with service of my 5-step clarity blueprint, which I'm going to make available for you free also at the end of this. I believe what we're talking about today too helps us align with service. And I feel we should have the servant's heart. So let's go forward. I want you to think about these 5 to 6 questions that I'm going to ask you. And I've left these 10 arenas of your life, our lives, up so you can think about these as we go through this. I hope you have your journal. I hope you're going to write down these questions and go through them when we're over and then review them. First question, if you had to describe to a recent college graduate you were mentoring how your mindset made you successful, how would you describe it? And be specific about this. So how would you describe to a recent college graduate that you were mentoring your mindset that made you successful? And when you're writing those, ask yourself what else, and be specific about this. I've actually been talking to a soon-to-be graduate, a doctor graduate, and he's talking about where he wants to go practice. And he's talking about things. And I find it interesting. And one tip of advice that I'd have for him that I would like to share with you too is when we have our dreams, when we set our dreams out there and we're working towards them, sometimes doors that open for us don't exactly look exactly like we're picturing. And just because the door looks a little different doesn't mean we shouldn't open it. So do not, I would say, be closed-minded. I believe we should be open-minded and be not so rigid on our dreams of how we get there, because it may take a different turn of how we get there. But I say remain open going forward. That's one thing that came to mind to me. I'd like to be a little more specific about that too, because I often heard too, wherever you're at and whatever you're looking for, you'll find. If you go into a town and you're looking for all the bad in it, you're going to find it. This is about being preemptive. Coaching is viewing things differently in our lives. I'm going to go back to that doctor that I'm speaking with. When you sit there and you say, I'm not sure we're gonna this or like that or like these people or like this town, I wouldn't be so shut off and closed-minded and make determinations of what's gonna happen before you go there that are negative. When I came down to Elizabethton, Tennessee, when I graduated, it was gonna be great. And I knew whatever was gonna happen, I had in my mind, I was gonna serve with a full heart. And wherever I was, it was going to happen. That statement, home is where the heart is, it is. All right? So let's don't put roadblocks in front of our psychology that block us and predetermine, well, I've got to have this and not this. Let's move on to the second question. Do you ever find yourself focusing too much on negative thoughts or your faults? Do you ever find yourself focusing on negative thoughts or your faults too much? You write that question out. And if so, when does that happen? If so, when does that happen? And then a fourth question, is that getting you ahead? How's that working for you? One thing that I think about here is when I grew up with my mother and not my father, and he didn't pay child support. My mom got multiple sclerosis. Money was always tight. So I know, because of how I grew up, that when sometimes money gets a little tight, I can get a little swirly. I can freak out. And I don't need to do that. And I'm proactive about that. When I find things are getting tight, I set things in place to change that psychology, to change my mindset, to not let that be a trigger of mine. So, fifth question. What are some things in your energy and your courage you could do and say to yourself to shift that? We've talked about energy and courage before, all right? What are some things that we can do with our energy to change that negative psychology? We've talked about breathing, moving our bodies, walking, putting on our courage, knowing that these voices, so to speak, in our heads lie sometimes, all right? We need to set these things up in place to have that positive mental health, all right? And then 6, how does that feel? How does that feel? So if you're journaling that out, for me, it's deep breathing, it's walking, it's lifting weights in the morning. That helps shed some of that negativity off of me, and it feels great. It feels free. Okay, so these are huge tactics that we can do. Journal this out. Spend the time doing this, because this is our good work. If you're stuck, you're burnt out, you're lost, you're on the cusp of making a big choice, these are great things to do. And also, I would say, don't let another day turn into a month or a year of delaying, of improving yourself. And a day or a month can slip into a year and slip into 4 years and a 5-year funk. All right? I think we've all been there and know what I'm talking about. So what I would like to do is give you my 5-step clarity blueprint free. Simply comment clarity below in the comments section, or go to the link in the featured links and request my 5-step clarity blueprint, which is free. And yes, just like with what we went through today, one choice, one action step can pull you out of your funk, and it can lead to that big choice you need to make today, not tomorrow. Simply comment clarity below and I'll get you that for free. If you would like to do it a different way, text me 423-460-9757. Text me clarity. I'll get you that free 5-step clarity blueprint over today. And I went through this. This will be your next breakthrough. But you got to get in movement. You got to get in motion. You got to get off that couch, so to speak, and make that action step today. Dr. Howard Dennis, your certified high performance coach. I hope you've got something out today. And make sure you do get something out of this today. And comment clarity below. Have a great day. Thank you.